All right, I think I got it with no echo because I paused it right away.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a little bit of an echo, but I think that's going to go away. Okay, we are live.
Okay.
Let me put this in. Okay. All right. Hopefully, we have someone on so they can see us. Awesome. Good morning, Nicole. As you can see, this is my special mystery guest. You like to
Hopefully you're not disappointed.
I'm sure they're not disappointed. Mrs. Dana Fritts is rejoining us because we got so rudely cut off the last time. So I'm hoping that Zoom makes it. So if we get cut off again, I'm just going to take that as a sign. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to be done.
Yeah. So I've got my little guest with us today too. My older kids are gone for the day, so I'm here with the little kids. So I'm going to see how this goes. But yeah, you talk.
Yeah.
We might have to talk over this one. I don't know. We'll see.
That's totally okay.
So we have several people on already: Vanessa, Amber, Jennifer, Nicole, and Miss Lady Winter. So good of you ladies to join us. We had some join. I know Saturdays are busy for everyone, but Miss Dana, what's been going on in your life?
Not a lot. Well, I say not a lot. Every day is an adventure, but we were in Cincinnati last weekend for a little marathon that we did up there with Pastor Mejia and Brother Brett Stockton. That was a lot of fun. First time I'd been to Cincinnati. Got to meet some people who I'd actually talked to on the phone and seen on Facebook, and finally got to, have some person-to-person meetings there. That was really good. And then that's about it. We've got, just cruising into fall, and things are starting to speed up like they always do at this time of year. So cramming in school.
What's your favorite time of year? This is my favorite time of year. Fall, Thanksgiving.
I do. I love the holidays. I love, the change in the leaves. I like everything like that. But I'm a summer girl. I like the hot weather. I like, not having to layer clothing and not having to freeze when I'm outside. So I prefer summer, but fall would be second.
Yes, fall is my ultimate favorite. I'm not huge into the heat. So, I like it for like a week. And, I like a week to maybe go to the beach and play, maybe have some swimming time, swimming pool, but then I'm over it. So.
Where's the nearest beach to you? Where do you go to the beach?
We have to go far. We have to go to Lake Michigan, so I don't do Chicago.
Is that a beach?
Well, yeah, they have beaches. It's cold. It's very, very cold. Lake Michigan is super cold.
Yeah.
Lake, but we have to go about 2.5 hours away to Indiana.
Yeah.
Or we can hit Michigan up. That's further. We found a really nice beach actually. A couple years ago, we had gone to go see Babylon USA at the Michigan show. And on the way back, my husband and I found this really great. It was just like perfect sand and barely anyone there. So that was a really, really, it was kind of by where the dunes are in Michigan. Okay. So it was really nice. Yeah, we have to drive.
Yeah, I bet. Well, we do too, but we go south.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, let's get into it. We were interrupted the last time. So we were talking about soul winning with children. And let me get my outline here. So you went soul winning with kids last week then?
Oh, yeah. We went when we were in Cincinnati. Who did I have with me? I guess I had Ollie and Levi, the little ones, the little guys, and Sam was with Grayson, and we were all kind of together. So Levi could like jump across the street, but yeah. And then Sunday again, went out, and so yeah, sure did. I pretty much always have my boys with me when I go. So there's a rare occasion that I'll get to go without one, but usually always it's a group. So
I started this thing where every month at my church I want to do on Sundays ladies soul winning, where the men are behind with the kids. And I actually did it for the first time last week, but my husband was at church, so I still had to take it with. Come on, how does this happen?
Not quite fair.
Yes, that's but next month I'm looking forward to going out without them. Right. I have them with most of the time when I do go, but it is nice when you're able to just focus on what you're doing.
Well, I'm sure. Like I said, I can't imagine having, a child Kelly's age and trying to I just can't imagine. That would be tough. Like I said, that's where your good silent partner comes in there, that you can pass that baby to. But
exactly, you need a good silent partner for sure. So let's go into ways having children along can help your soul winning approach. We talked a little bit about it. I can't remember exactly where we cut off, but have you found that people are more, I have found this to be true, that people are a lot more comfortable when they open the door.
Right.
You have a screaming baby. You have a talking baby. Actually, she gets a lot of attention. So people are more comfortable when you have a baby with, and they can see them and talk to them. Sure. They think they're so cute. And then, you know, I'll often have like my girls, I don't know if your boys do it, but my girls will even knock on the door and introduce us, tell us why they're there, and we're inviting them to church. And then I leave them if they're interested for more. But have you found that to be true with you?
Yes. And I actually thought about this after we had our last conversation, because I think somebody had asked how I got into the conversation with the lady on the airplane who had lost her husband, you know, in the accident. And I got to thinking about it after we got done, you know, with our show and everything. It was Levi who actually spawned that conversation, because we had hit a little bit of turbulence, you know, on the airplane, and he's looking out of the airplane. Levi is obsessed with all things weather related. He loves storms. He's, you know, we say he's going to be a storm chaser. He loves clouds. He loves, you know, anything about weather. And so he's looking out the window and naming the kinds of clouds that he sees. And he's like, oh, we're having turbulence because those are lenticular clouds. I didn't even know that was a thing. And she laughs, you know, and she's like, what? She's like, what kind of kid knows what a lenticular cloud is? And I said, well, he's a homeschooler. So, you know, that's got to be it. And that sort of started the whole conversation, because I remember her saying that she wanted to homeschool her daughter, but she had lost her husband. And so that was our intro into that entire conversation about our faith, about, you know, her husband, about looking for a church, about everything. So yeah, kids are totally, because most everybody loves kids, and kids aren't afraid, you know, to talk to anybody. I laughed. Another point that you made last time we talked is you said something about our children, like being, you know, afraid, you know, of people, you know, afraid of everybody. My kids are like the polar opposite of that. They're not afraid of anybody because we're so free with, you know, approaching anybody's house. Nobody's off limits. We talk to everybody. And so a lot of times I have to hold them back, you know, don't talk to that person. Don't go get in that person's space. No, we're not invited there. Please come back over here. So our, you know, our kids are just everybody's fair game.
Right. But, yeah. I find that with most of mine. I have a couple where I've had to push them out of their comfort zone, but even now they'll go up to any door while soul winning. So, you know, and then my younger, I feel like the younger my kids get, the more bold they are. I don't know if it's being from a big family, right, know, being around people in church more, but they are definitely good icebreakers. So someone asked, and I'll let you answer this, what is the purpose of a silent partner? Is that the standard?
Oh, absolutely. The silent partner is definitely the standard for a lot of reasons. The silent partner is there as a safety net for you. It's just not safe to be out by yourself. I think I said last time, you know, that we broke that rule a lot last summer, Megan and I, just trying to wipe out, you know, this area that we were canvassing over the summer. And we would split off, and she would take one side of the street and I would take another, and she'd have a kid and I'd have a kid or two. And this is dangerous. You just shouldn't do that. You know, we got scolded greatly for that. And you know, I know she went up to a door once and, you know, found this creepy guy, and he was like, she had Levi with her, and he's like eyeballing Levi, and it really, you know, wigged her out. Yeah, it was really creepy. She came running off that porch. And so the silent partner is there for your safety. You know, that way nobody can say, you know, oh, this person verbally assaulted me. This person took something from my porch. This person, whatever. And then your silent partner is there to encourage you, you know, and pray for you. If you're given the gospel, I think, you know, it's imperative for your silent partner to be there. And, you know, maybe you need a little extra prayer when you're trying to talk somebody over some hurdles, and, you know, your silent partner can pray while you're giving the gospel. And then as a mommy, a silent partner is there to help with children. And that is so, so very important, just to make sure that kids are not running around the house, or, you know, getting off the porch, or getting in the street, or picking the lady's flowers, or, you know, whatever may be going on. But yeah, silent partner is always the standard.
Yes, always. Especially for women. My husband has gone before. In the early days of starting the church, he did go by himself some of the, some of the times, but he didn't like it. So in the early days, he always tried to make sure that I would drop a kid off at the church so he could take a child, take one of our kids with him or something.
Right.
He's like, because a lot of times, sometimes you do knock on the door and it's just a kid there. There's no parents, and that's going to look bad if he's knocking on the door. So if he has one of our kids or two of our kids with him, it protects him. It's good liability for him. And then, like you said, when you're a mom with kids, you have to have a silent partner just to help with different scenarios that come up, runny noses, or one of them pulls a hangnail and is bleeding, or, stuff always happens when you're talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely. But, one of the things that I like the most about Soulwinning is I really think this has made an impression on my children, because they have, and I've talked about it before in the past, but they see the way of the sinner with their own eyes as they're going. I mean, we've gone up to doors and we've been cussed out. We have gone up to doors and there's been fighting, like people screaming, yelling at each other, cussing at each other. They've seen the drunk guy. They've seen the guy that was high. They've seen broken liquor bottles all over in the type of lifestyle they're living, being addicted to that. So have you noticed that making an impression on your kids?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like we talk about all the time. Our kids, nobody can say that our children are sheltered. Our children are anything but sheltered. They see the world for what it is, 100%. There have been many, many opportunities for us to talk through some things after we've left a house, where there are just lots of things in life that are just sad to see, sad scenarios. So yeah, absolutely. I think that, it's reality. You see the world for what it is. It's not some beautiful, or awesome, everything's wonderful on television that, kids are seeing. They're seeing what really exists in the world with sin. So
yeah. And then another thing for me, I think this is probably why Lana ended up getting saved so early. She was not even quite 5 when she had lots of questions and she really wanted me. I didn't push it. I waited until she came to me and talked to me about it. But she wanted to know how to get saved. She heard me telling the gospel, presenting the gospel over and over again. And it really got into her head and into her heart. So have you found that your kids are listening as you're presenting the gospel and things?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think we talked about this last time. I think I said that Ollie is just right there. He's so very close. But like you said, I'm not pushing him. I don't want to ever just like we don't push somebody at the door, I'm certainly not going to push my own child. I want to be sure that he understands. But we talk through things all the time. What is a sin? Do you know what a sin is? That's a sin. What happens when we sin? Where do we go when we die? So absolutely, here's this constantly. Levi's doing a really neat little book for Bible verse memory this year. And his verses this week were from Romans, and it was verses he already knew. He's like, Mom, I don't need to memorize these. I already know this is Soulwinning verses, Romans 3:23. It's like, I already know this one. I don't need to write it, because we do copy work, and then you've got to recite it. So yeah, they know the gospel inside and out. They're solid. They're, unwavering. And I think that's fantastic, because there are so many people. That's the whole goal of false Christianity, is to attack the gospel, and our kids can't be fooled. But.
Right. Exactly. And so how do your children respond when you knock on that door and you get yelled at? Because there are people, they don't even care if you have kids with. They're like, I don't care if there's kids. They cuss all the time in front of their kids. So why would they hold themselves back? It's like, of course. So how do your kids respond?
Yeah, it's exciting. They love it. I hate to say that, but it's like reality TV show. They still talk about it. They're like, I don't know. Maybe that's bad. They don't get afraid. I have boys. Maybe it's different with girls. I don't know. But yeah, my kids think it's like really crazy and exciting, and they make fun and laugh about it. It hasn't happened often. It's happened to me once that I've just been out and out screamed at. I think I mentioned that last time too. And then it's happened to Grayson a couple of times. But oh yeah, it makes for great stories. So they're not really afraid. Yeah. And that's the problem. They're not afraid. They should be more afraid than they are. That I'm more afraid than they're afraid.
Right. So. That's funny. No, I think with mine, Allie is very tenderhearted, and for her, she goes away with this, like, she'll get real quiet as she's watching the whole thing. And then we're walking away and she just gets she's asked me before a couple of times, why would you not want to know how to go to heaven?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to have a free gift? It's so easy,
Right.
and she looks at it more as not how dare they scream at us, but she looks at it more as those poor people, those poor miserable people,
Good. A great attitude.
aren't going to go to heaven because they don't want to even listen to us.
Right.
So she kind of looks at it that way. Lana, she's kind of oblivious right now. I think it would probably Abby and Chloe, they would just be like, well, we're going on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, forget that. So Nicole Shepard just joined us. Hi, Nicole. She was my silent partner that helped a lot when we went soul winning in Springfield.
Okay.
And that's when Kelly was screaming and crying, and she was able to give her the little thing to play with. So she did a great job being a silent partner. So hi, Nicole. Good morning. So yeah, that's how my kids respond. They aren't, like you said, mine aren't really afraid either, and they're girls. So maybe it's because I don't know, because they're used to it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it doesn't happen very often. Maybe I could count in my head, maybe 3 or 4 times where we've had really rude people. So, in all the years that we've gone. So it hasn't happened that much, but
Yeah.
do they ever hear you? Do your kids hear you or dad defend your faith with the Bible?
I didn't catch that. It sort of broke up. I think you said defend my faith with the Bible. Do the kids ever hear us do that? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time we're at the door, I mean, we don't stand in debate, especially me. I don't want to get in some big debate. I had a guy last weekend when I was in Cincinnati. He answers the door, very nice, looking man, very friendly, very smiley. I hand him a card. I was soul winning up in Cincinnati. I don't even remember the name of the church now. That's terrible. I hand him a card and tell him where I'm from, and he looks at it and he goes, "I'm Church of Christ," and he smiles. And I was like, okay. I said, well, more important than, coming to church. I asked him, I said, if you died today, do you know you're going to go to heaven when you die? He kind of smiled again and he goes, I do know that. And he gives me his list of reasons of why he's going to heaven, none of which align with what the Bible says. And, I just, in that instant, I thought, I'm not going to be able to stand here and argue with this man, nor should I waste my time arguing with this man, because there were a lot of doors that we wanted to get knocked that day. So I said, I'm probably not going to be able to stand here and convince you anything otherwise, right? And he was like, probably not. And we parted ways. And it was, I did not stand there and debate. And I'm glad I didn't, because 2 doors down, I got a young 15-year-old boy saved. So, but, there have been times where I've, I don't want to say gotten defensive, but where I've stood my ground, in a conversation with someone. Usually the conversation is going one way and you think you have a chance with this person, and then they flip on you and want to stand there and debate. So absolutely, our kids have certainly heard that, I'm sure, time and time again.
Awesome. And that's another area. I think we're buffering, so I think we're caught up now, but that's another area where a silent partner can help, is if you're in a situation where, I was in a situation where I had one of my friends, Miss Jackie Turner was my silent partner, and I was talking to 2 Muslims, and the Muslims would not let me leave. And I was trying to leave and trying to get out of there. And so she finally just came up and grabbed me, and she's like, okay, we're leaving, bye, grabbed me and we left. And I'm like, thank you, because I was trying to get away. It was wasting my time. They were resolute in what they believed. They weren't going to change my mind. I wasn't going to change their mind. So, that's another area that a silent partner can help in too.
Yes.
All right. So are we caught up now? Okay. So also another thing I think that helps for kids is they gain a love. I know that my kids have, and I know that my kids have gained a love for lost people. And the more people that they see saved, the more people they want to see saved. Have you noticed that with yours as well?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think that 100%, our kids talk about our family a lot. It's created this burden for our family. And, I don't want to get on here and say who's saved and who's not saved in my family. I don't know who's going to watch this, and I don't want to start a fight, but, we have unsaved people in our family, and, people who that we honestly don't think will ever get saved in our family. And so our children are very concerned about that. There's actually, a huge burden in their hearts for people in our family. It reminds me, there's a video that just came out. Have you seen the video? I think it's Peter James who put it out about his dad and his burden for his dad. And oh my goodness, I sat there and cried all the way through that video, that young man is so just consumed with, wanting to see his father saved. And I think that's how our children are going to grow up. I think that they're going to grow up feeling that way. I don't want to cry. I'm not going to cry. But yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, that's very sweet. Miss Fiona just joined us. Hello, Fiona. She is my friend from Ireland.
Oh, cool.
It's her first live show. I think they're 6 hours past us. So right now it's 6 p.m. there. And she usually is not able to meet. Why did I say meet? I don't know. She's not able to be here on Monday night's show because we're at 7. And so it's like early in the morning. She's sleeping during the show on Monday night. So hi, Miss Fiona. I'm glad you were able to join us. But this is the big point. The next point that I have, I really, really feel like this is a big one for our kids, because I grew up with a lot of doubts about my salvation. And I feel like kids that are being taken soul winning with the right gospel, like ours they really have a cemented foundation for their salvation and not having doubts, not being tossed, to and fro and things like that, because they're hearing all the time how easy the gospel is, how simple it is to be saved. And I really feel like for me, when I really started becoming a soul winner, a fervent soul winner, that's when a lot of doubts were eased in my mind and my heart, just giving the gospel over and over and over again. So have you found this to be true with your older kids that have been saved?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. No doubt about it. Especially with my oldest son. I mean, he's no worries at all. I grew up the same way. I was very doubtful. I don't really believe that I got saved until I was an adult anyway. I grew up, in a Baptist church, Southern Baptist church, but very loose. We actually watched it go from very conservative to extremely liberal in the time that, I was there. And always, I was that girl that every time there was a youth function, I was getting saved again because I didn't think I got saved the last time. And so, I really don't think that I ever understood the gospel. I could have told you, Jesus died for my sins, but I really thought that because I wasn't living some certain lifestyle, I wasn't doing things that I should be doing, I didn't have this, deep sorrow for my sin, that I wasn't actually getting saved. So I really don't think that I understood until later in life. But there's no doubt about it that our children will never experience that. There's no question that they'll grow up with a very solid understanding of the gospel and be able to share that. I think it's very sad. So often we meet these people when we're out soul winning, and I believe that they're saved, but they can't tell you how to get saved. They just can't get it out. They know you can walk them through it. You can give them the points. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Oh yes, that's what I think, but they can't verbalize it. They can't get it out. And it's so easy. It's so very easy. But at every churches now make it so cloudy and mysterious, and it's emotional, and exactly the opposite of what we preach. So
it is. And just last week, I ran into a guy that went to a Southern Baptist church. Funny that you would say that. He was in a Southern Baptist church. And I asked him, I said, well, we're not here trying to steal people from other churches, but we're giving out the gospel and we're asking people if they know for sure they go to heaven. And he said, well, I hope so. He's from a Baptist church. And I said, you hope so? I said, now, what does your church say about salvation? What does your pastor preach? And he could not tell me. He's like, and so I went through the whole gospel plan with him. He was probably in his 80s, I believe. Went through the whole gospel plan. He was listening. But then when I got to the end and I said, do you believe this? Do you believe this? Do you believe this? He said, yes. And then I said, now, do you want to pray with me and just tell the Lord that, you believe he did all this for you and you're trusting in him alone to get to heaven? And he said, no, that he was good.
Oh,
so
I hate that.
I was like, oh, really? Oh, I hate it when I get him to that point. And then, and I did stress, I always stress at least twice. I'll say something twice. I don't push past that, but I said, now, are you sure this is a very important decision? It comes down, you told me you believed all this. So, why don't you just pray with me and, tell the Lord? And he said, no, not right now. Maybe later. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he was from, a Southern Baptist church. And then I was talking with one of the guys that comes to our church, and he said he went to, I believe a non-denom or something for 3 years. He said not once, there was never a gospel presentation ever, not one time at that church.
Right. It's mind blowing. It's completely mind blowing. Like the church that I grew up in, they think it's totally okay and completely acceptable for, a family to move to a foreign country and become missionaries and, start, a church plant or have a VBS or do soccer camp or I don't know, whatever they do with the SBC missionaries, not much. And talk about, the missionaries will come back to the church and talk about how they, get people saved. And it's completely acceptable. Like at my parents' church, we'll use that one for example. They would think nothing of that for this family to be remote somewhere, third world country, giving the gospel. But for my family to do this here in our town, door to door, it's like, what? You do what? Yeah. It makes no sense to them. How is it okay to go to Africa and do that, but it's not okay to do it right here in Knoxville, Tennessee? It makes absolutely no sense to me. It's like it's so taboo or something. I don't know. It's weird.
I know. It's weird. I've noticed that. And and it's like they believe all the numbers. If you get someone saved in Africa, oh, yay, praise the Lord, yeah. It's salvation. And then you tell them, there was 10 saved today out Soulwinning. What?
You didn't get those people saved. Exactly.
Yes. Yep. That is how it
actually, is. Yeah, we had a Southern Baptist pastor tell us, well, soul winning doesn't work. That doesn't work anymore. How does it not work? I've seen it work. Come with me. See my zeal for the Lord. I just don't understand how you can stand there and you don't go soul winning and tell me that it doesn't work. But that's a sermon for another day, right?
Yeah. It is, definitely. All right, let's get into some funny stories. I want to hear a couple of yours. I was trying to think, like I said before we started, I was trying to think, and I know there's like a lot more. I should have picked my kids' brains because they're the ones that remember all the funny stories. Yeah. Jason, do you have any funny stories from Soul Winning? Yeah, he said most of the funny stuff that happens to them is they get cussed out. So they think it's funny too.
See, exactly. It's exciting. It's like reality TV. Oh, that's funny.
So funny. No, one of the ones that I can remember, it was me and a bunch of the girls. Like we didn't have enough adults to go around with the kids. So I had like 4 or 5 girls. I had my girls. I had a couple other girls.
Yeah.
And we were at this apartment. We were all doing these apartments, and they were kind of like, you would go in a hallway and then the doors, and this older lady she really wanted all of us to come in. And I was like, oh, it was freezing cold outside. I'm like, yeah, I guess since I have everyone, but I was so uncomfortable the whole time. Like we came in and she wanted us to sit down, and she's telling us there's like cameras everywhere. And she's
how weird.
Yeah, it was weird. She was telling us that her husband was a policeman. And so he had installed all the cameras because he wanted to keep her safe. So I didn't know if he's like watching us at the time.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It was weird. Yeah. And so she was just talking. I was trying to get all of us out of there as fast as I could. And finally at the end, she's like, well, I'm just so glad you guys are doing this. I want to give you something. And so she went and and I had put something about this in our Facebook group, but she went in and she got a half-eaten bag of Cheetos. And she was insistent.
A half-eaten bag.
Us a half-eaten bag of Cheetos. And so we were like, okay. So we took it, I put it in a diaper bag, and we left. And as we're walking away, I'm like,
did you eat one in front of her? Yeah.
I told the girls, I said, we are not eating those Cheetos.
That's so funny.
Like, yeah, because people, when they eat Cheetos, they lick their fingers back in the bag. So that just kind of grossed us out. We threw it away. I hope she never watches this. I'm sorry we didn't eat your Cheetos, but
so funny. That's funny. Yeah, that's a pretty good story.
Okay, so what's one of yours?
Okay, let's see. I've got a few. I mean, I'll try to keep this as appropriate as possible. So my husband and I were out soul winning together once, which doesn't happen very often at all. It's just a rare occasion that we go together. We were together. We had our two youngest boys with us. I think our two oldest boys were together somewhere else. And we're, walking down the street and we're arguing about something. I don't even remember what we were arguing about. I don't even know now. It was completely pointless, whatever it was. And we get to this door and, you cut it off, we're not talking and thinking just get through this, afternoon or whatever. And he knocks the door. He was talking. He knocks the door and this young lady answers the door and she was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, just beautiful peanut butter skin and long dark hair. And she had nothing on but her undergarments. And she leans against the inside of the door and, in this very seductive way. And, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, should I, do I gasp? Do I cover my children's eyes? Do I turn around and walk away? What do I do? I just kind of standing there. It's like getting splashed with cold water. I'm just standing there staring at my husband, who is like a pro at just being in really awkward situations. He's done it for a really long time. He's probably seen lots of naked people that I'd rather not even think about. But he just doesn't even miss a beat. Hey, I'm Grayson from the All Scripture Baptist Church. We're just out inviting people to church. Y'all, you go to church anywhere? And I guess it caught her off guard. I think she was really expecting a little more of a reaction there. And so she kind of stumbles around and says, no, I'm not interested. Okay. He hands her the card. She shuts the door and we start to walk away with me just in total shock that happened. And he's like, unfazed by it. He's like, do you not realize what I've done for the past 20 years? He's like, maybe I've just really desensitized me. He's like, it just, whatever, if that's how she wants to answer the door. Really funny. Of course, my kids are like, did she forget her clothes? What happened? Yeah, she forgot her clothes. Let's not talk about that anymore. But that was funny, awkward and funny, and one that we laugh about. And then we had another couple guys at our church who were soul winning together. They have a guy come to the door with no pants on, just no pants. He has, his boxer shorts and a t-shirt, no pants. They, tell him who they are, where they're from. We're from All Scripture Baptist Church. And he goes, are you Mormons? And they're like, no, Baptist, or you're not Jehovah's Witness? No, we're not Jehovah's Witness. And he was like, okay, let me go get some pants on. He said, I'll hear you out. I know. So he goes and gets his pants on and he actually came back and got saved. So, that's funny. Moral of that story is don't discredit every single person who comes to the door without their clothing on. But those stories were.
Yes, that is so awkward. And you know what? That has happened. I forgot about that. That's happened so many times where people answer. My boys were knocking on a door and the guy was in his underwear. I'm just like,
who does that?
I don't know, but I've had that happen before too. And I'm always like, just look at their face, keep looking at their face.
Yeah.
Else, just look at their face.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So awkward. I would never answer the door and
why did exactly? Well, and I think the young lady, she just wanted to get a response. I mean, that was the whole point of her. I mean, it was obviously very staged what she was doing. Now, the man who answered the door in just, his boxer shorts, he actually told them that he was just trying to run off whoever was at his door. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. But so, I don't know. Why not just peek through the blinds and don't answer? I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, I have never, the ones that answered their door in the underwear, I've never been able to lead to the Lord. It's just the awkward vibe. They're awkward too, though. Most of the ones that answer in their underwear, they're awkward when they see a lady there in a skirt with a lot of little kids. They're kind of like, kind of embarrassed. Like, see, it was me. I don't know. My husband has a funny story. One time him and his dad were visiting and one thing about my husband, crazy women freak him out.
He could never be a police officer then.
No, he could not, because crazy women and people in insane asylums, just crazy local women really, really creep him out. And so him and his dad were visiting this lady and they both, she wanted him to come in. So he said they went in the house and it was already awkward because there was like weird pictures of Jesus everywhere and like weird signs and like, and everything. I can't remember all the specifics, but basically it ended up with her losing it, freaking out on them, screaming, saying a whole bunch of crazy things. And he was like, we got out of there fast.
Yeah. Demon possession.
Yes. He's like, I wanted to run out of there. It was so crazy. He was really shook up about it because just crazy women just freak him out. So
really funny. That's really funny.
There's been another time he got stung one time when he was going up to knock on the door and a bee stung him right behind the ear. And as the baby is opening the door, he's going, ow, ow, because it stung him multiple times behind the ear. And she answered, and he's just like, oh, and he just sat there for a minute. And then he just hands her a track. He's like, we're inviting people to church. So, telling them gospel if you want to know. And she's just like, no, that's okay. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I bet. That's funny. That's really funny.
Like, yeah, we got other, it hurt the rest of the day. It hurt though, but I know those are just some that come to mind. Do you have any more?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. I don't know. We could probably go on all day with this. There was one time I was out with my son's girlfriend, Kayla, and this was like the first time that she was a talker. So, I mean, this was a huge day. It's like a paramount day for her. And we go in this lady's apartment, which we don't go in a lot either. I try to avoid going in at all costs, but this little lady was pitiful. She was on a walker. She probably weighed 85 pounds soaking wet. And you go in there and it's this just terribly nasty, smoke-filled apartments, with cats everywhere. It's like the worst possible scenario. So it smelled like cat pee and cigarette smoke and just musty, moldy smell. Well, we sit there. It couldn't have been any less than 45 minutes with Kayla going through the gospel with this woman. And she was so patient with this lady. Her name was Janie. I still remember her. But about halfway through, Janie asks if she can smoke. And so Kayla's like, sure, if you want to, that's fine. So Janie lights up her cigarettes and she's literally like for the rest of the time that we were there, blowing smoke right in Kayla's face. I mean, just big, wafts of cigarette smoke. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. But Kayla was a trooper. She got through the gospel. She got Janie over several humps. It was like the most challenging, soul winning experience I've ever seen. And it was this kid's first experience. This was a 19-year-old girl and she pushed through the pain and did it, even, with cigarette smoke all in her face. But we left there and she's like, oh, it was so bad. Yeah, that one's funny. There's another experience with Kayla. A lot of funny things happened when I was out with Kayla. We're going up the steps. It was like one of those houses that you have to go like up these giant staircase and the door's kind of at the top of the house, big steep driveway, if I'm describing that right, if you can see that. But the steps literally go right up the side of the house. Well, as we're walking up, there's these dogs like, up in the window, big dogs, barky dogs. Mm-hmm. Well, she loves dogs. I mean, she's one of these dog people. She just loves dogs. So she's like, oh, look. And she's looking up at the window as we're going up the steps. I was ahead of her. Well, as she looks up, the screen falls out of this window. Yeah. And she reaches up. She's like holding the screen. These two dogs, like massive dogs barking down. I'm about to have a panic attack on the steps because I'm trapped at the top of the steps. Two big dogs coming out. The guy answers the door, gets everything squared away, but it was wild. The road name was Chicago, and Samuel still calls it Chidago because of those dogs.
Chidago.
Yes, Chidago Soul Winning Day. But that was crazy. But it couldn't have happened to a better person. She likes the dogs. I would have died if that happened to me.
In fact, I'm sorry, but some dogs probably have sent people to hell because if there's big barking dogs, I sometimes skip. Yes, call me awful, but if they are not, especially if they're not leashed or they're on a really long leash where they can still get me, if I'm going to the door, I'm not going by a pit bull with my kids for that. So
nope. We passed a house, it's been back in the summertime, and they had 4 pit bulls chained to all 4 corners of the house. It's to keep, drug deals, gone wrong. So they didn't have to, deal with people coming and robbing them or whatever. 4 pit bulls. And as we're walking down the street, the guy on the other side of the road is yelling at me, don't go to that house. Don't knock on that door. So no, I'm the same way. If there's a big, massive dog threat there, I don't even mess with it at all.
Nope. I will skip it.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Guilty. Same here.
When you were talking about the smoking story, it reminded me of a story when we were doing some kind of ghetto-ish apartments. I knocked on the door, and once again, it was very chilly out. It was a young mom, with a couple kids, and she invited me into the kitchen area right there. So I had a couple of my kids with. So I did go in and she had just been smoking marijuana. So,
no.
the whole house smelled like marijuana. I could smell it. It had a very distinct smell. But I'm like, I'm just very, very interested in hearing. So I stayed in there for a good, 15, 20 minutes. I led her to the Lord. She prayed. But then when we left for the rest of the day, my coat and my clothes, I smelled like I had been smoking pot. So
exactly. Yes. Been there, done that too.
Anytime I shook it, I could smell like just the marijuana just coming off of it. So.
Yes, that's so funny. Somebody was just telling me about a similar experience like that when we were in Cincinnati. It was in one of the states where it's legal, and I can't remember who it was now, but it's just everywhere now, just everywhere you go, which a lot of the areas we go to, it's everywhere you go anyway in Knoxville, and it's not legal in Tennessee.
It is now legal in Illinois. And in fact, there are now pot dispensary pharmaceutical places in Sterling, I noticed.
Goodness.
So, if you want some pot, just come join our church.
There you go. There you go. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's everywhere in Illinois now. What are the government? Stupid. Our governor's horrible. So he legalized pot, but he's also raised taxes, raised the gas tax, all the stuff. So, but I shouldn't say that because I don't mind people when we do our church. Everyone's gonna be like, I don't want to go to that church. I don't want to live in Illinois.
Yeah, no kidding. You need to make it out to be a little better than it is.
Great state. No, it's one of the worst. But we're 30 minutes from the Iowa border. Iowa's a little bit better. So.
Oh, are you that close? I didn't realize you were that close. Yeah, okay.
Minutes. We're kind of right on the edge of a couple areas of Iowa. So.
Right
over everything. But you have any more you want to say? I think we're going to wrap it up pretty quickly. So
no, I can't think of anything that's just, gonna entertain. So not I can't think of any awesome ones. So we'll call it done.
All right, let me check the chat. I don't think anyone left any questions. You addressed the one question about the silent partner. Mm-hmm. So yep, I don't think anyone else did. So anyways, ladies, thanks for joining us. We did have some listeners. Let me see. We are.
Hope nobody was disappointed that it was me. I felt really guilty when you put that mystery guest thing out there, like it was going to be somebody amazing. And I thought people are going to be really disappointed when they find out who it is.
You are amazing. Everyone loves you. They love your stories. You have such a great personality. So you and your husband both. But I enjoyed having you on. This was fun, a little impromptu show. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And definitely like and share the video, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be putting out another hymn playing video. I know those tend to get less views just because they only interest people who play the piano, right?
I love them.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, I'm going to do that here as soon as I am done. So look for that tonight, and we will see you guys Monday. I will still be doing the regular show Monday. Miss Dana, you want any final words before we say goodbye? And stay on after I click off of the live. Make sure you stay.
Okay. Well, nope, nothing from me. Have a great day.
All right. So now I've got to end the live. Here we go. Still trying to figure this out. Okay. Stop live stream. Bye, ladies.